Welcome to the Shoot to Ill podcast. If you don't know me, my name is Martin Depict. I'm a photographer and videographer based in Los Angeles. This is episode 18. The concept of done is better than perfect has been driving me insane. I think the idea of it is for you to not worry about making everything so perfect and just put it out there. I think that concept for social media content is great. I think there's so many people that hold themselves back because they want and need everything to be perfect. I was definitely one of those people. This is very much outside of my nature to put stuff out there that feels unfinished to me. But that, to me, part is the part that's always held me back in the past. And one of the most important things about the done is better than perfect mantra is that you won't gain the experience of putting out content until you do it. And if I keep holding myself back like I have been in the past, then I wouldn't even get to the point to where I am getting eyes on my content and having people watch the vlogs and having people listen to these podcasts. It's a difficult thing. And I know these last 3 podcasts, me coming back, it's been this sort of recurring conversation of me just having these conversations, I guess, with myself of trying to figure out what is this perfect way forward? And I don't know yet. I'm working on my 3rd vlog right now, and it's been the hardest one that I've had to work on so far. The first one was great because the client that I went on that trip with, her and I have been working together for years now, and she's very supportive of me doing this and didn't mind that I sort of included her in the content in the way that I did. She actually flew to LA for the 3rd vlog, so I got a little bit more content with her. But on top of that, so much other stuff happened that it was hard for me to sort of maneuver the shooting and editing into feeling like I had a direction with it. Because the reality is that when you're vlogging, I guess, you don't really have a direction. You don't know where the video is going to go. You don't know how the video is going to end. And I think that's the hardest part for me is that I'd love to have a clear idea of a beginning, a middle, and an end. And with vlogging, it's not like that. It's just sort of this just follow me type of mentality on, what my days look like. I still need to remember that I have deadlines that I need to meet and clients that I need to deliver for. Because this is secondary, I think my work will always be the priority, and making sure that I am keeping a level of professionalism is a priority. That said, I don't want to give off the notion that my content, that this thing that I'm creating and putting out there, I don't want to make it feel like it's not important to me, because it very much is important to me. I think it's my personal life, my professional life, and the content that I choose to make around that stuff is exactly what that is. It's sort of finding the balance of where things fall and fit, and then choosing what I shoot and edit about my life is very personal to me. I think that some things should stay private, and then other things are free and open to be able to share. I think there's obviously, if people have questions about what I do or are curious about how I work with people and models, then I hope that those questions are being answered as this content is being put out. But I don't want it to feel so forced, which is why I think vlogging was sort of the natural step, is because of these long form videos on YouTube are sort of what feels comfortable to me. Is as I'm working on edits and color correcting, I always have a YouTube video up. It may be my mind isn't fully paying attention to it, but every now and then something interesting will happen and I'll give it my attention. There's that, I don't know. I don't even know. It's probably some sort of condition to where my mind can fully, concentrate if that certain part of my brain is activated or stimulated by some sort of background noise or something. I have started listening to audiobooks, and I've started to put on noise on at night when I sleep. I don't know, and I'm learning that about myself. But my content is my content, and the people that I work with don't have any obligation to sort of like fulfill a story for me or to be a part of a plot in my vlog. That's not at all what this is. I think that I'm just sort of like showing what I feel comfortable showing, and if they feel comfortable sharing as well, great. I'm just living, working, and capturing it using the tools that I have available and trying not to overly perfect everything. Which brings me back to perfection, is that not everything is going to be perfect. You know, not every shot that I take is going to look and feel like a Scorsese frame, and the audio isn't going to be clear all the time. That's one thing that drives me nuts, is I wish I can get perfect audio for everything, but then I don't know. I'm still getting used to working with the little mics and stuff. Oh, my cat. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. A lot of the time too, I'm giving myself one chance to sort of like get the shot, and I think that sort of has led me to where and how I'm shooting these shots. I think one thing is that I'm very comfortable in my car. I think in my second vlog, I sort of introduced my car as like a character. That wasn't something that I was planning on doing, but it's nice because I do drive a lot. You know how they say like most men do their best thinking on the toilet? I do my best thinking behind the wheel. That comes from just like how much time I've been behind the wheel. Like it's very much like a comfort place. And I think that very similar to me working behind a desk and then putting on a YouTube video or something, it sort of stimulates that part of my brain to where other parts of my brain can think clearly. And so I can drive and talk and feel more comfortable. And what's crazy, like I went to high school in Palmdale, and that's where I learned how to drive. My first car was a piece of shit, like 1989 Infiniti Q45 that ended up dying just a few months in after owning it because the radiator was just shot, which led to other problems with the engine. So I had to get rid of it. My second car I bought from a junkyard, and I love that car. It was a black Honda Prelude, a 1994 Honda Prelude. It's the one with the really fat butt. I taught myself how to drive manual in that car, just like through the small streets in Palmdale, taking the back roads, these long stretches of road that just sort of like feel like they're just driving into the desert. It's maybe one stop sign like every mile and a half or 2 miles. There's just a lot of space out there. Nothing was close. Everything was 30 minutes away. And if you wanted to walk anywhere, you're sort of risking heat stroke in the summer, and in the winter it's too cold anyway. But that car ended up getting stolen and got stolen from my driveway. I did get it back. When I got it back, it was still running. From what I know, the engine was fine, but they had stripped my audio system and like ruined the interior, and it just felt it felt weird being in that thing. So I sold it and then bought a car off of my friend, which was a 2004 Mitsubishi Lancer, and then I drove that thing like throughout my college years, and then 2 years after college. I put probably 200,000 miles on that car in a year and a half. No, probably 2 years, 2.5 years. There was a point where I slept and lived in that thing. There was a point where I was waking up in Canoga Park, going to school in downtown LA, driving to Costa Mesa for an internship, then figuring out where I was going to sleep to make it to school. It was tough, and I was driving easily, probably like maybe sometimes on 200 miles a day. That said, though, there is that sort of comfortability that I developed of being in a car and driving, and traffic doesn't even really bother me. Like I love being in a car as long as I have good music and I'm in the car. There's this sense of control that I really love. Maybe I went off too much on a tangent here, but that sort of doing the car shots has really helped me. It's helped me sort of just like make me feel like I don't need to go too much out of my way to create this content. Like I said, I do spend a lot of time in my car, and it's one of those places where like I have the most time to think to myself of where I want these vlogs to go, or how I want it to sort of like be woven together and be told as a story. Now, the reason why the third vlog has been so difficult is, like there was a lot that happened. I had like 5 shoots in the span of 7 days, 2 of which were on the same day. I think it was difficult because like I couldn't show everything. I think, again, there was that level of professionalism and the line that I didn't want to cross. To bring it back to the done is better than perfect thing, I think as a photographer, if I'm working for clients, right, there's certain expectations that you need to set for yourself and for your clients. So this sort of idea of just putting stuff out there without worrying about it too much, it drives me nuts, because it goes again. I'm sort of having to unlearn everything that I've taught myself about sort of making sure that I'm delivering something that I'm happy about. I think whether or not these videos are perfect or they meet a certain threshold or bar that I set for myself, I think that's less important. And you guys would never know. The viewer would never know that it feels unfinished. I think that there's always an intentionality with content like this, is that like, oh, if it was put out, it was done intentional. And I think that's how I feel as well. If anything is put out and it makes it to my phone, or makes it to my desktop screen, or makes it to my TV, decisions were made intentionally. And I think that intention is enough for me to not question it. You can obviously be a cinephile about movies, and you can be a pretty harsh critic on yourself and on other creators, and say like, oh, well, this should have been done this way and this should have been done that way. Fucking do it. and I think that's sort of like the hard thing, is that like there's a lot of people out there that judge, but they don't know the process. And I think that me putting myself through this is giving me a good idea and understanding of the process. Even before, when I was like doing YouTube videos for clients, or even now that I'm editing like TikToks and stuff for other people, there's a disconnect there. Obviously, there's a level of what I want the content to look like, but once I hand over the files and it's edited in whatever way they choose to edit it, that's out of my control, and they can sort of like make whatever intentional choice that they want with their content. The content that I'm putting out is the same way. I'm making these choices intentionally, and whether it feels unfinished to me, it doesn't matter. Nothing is perfect in the beginning. You know what? This is sort of, again, a little bit off topic, but there was a new interview with Shia LaBeouf. It was done with Channel 5 News. Now, I know Shia he's definitely like problematic right now with his choice of words and things that he says and does, and separating some of the less tasteful things in that interview. There was one thing that really popped out to me that I connected with. And there was this part in the interview where they're talking about the difference between skill and talent. Shia was sort of referring to himself as like someone that just got really lucky, and that he had won the lottery with his life. And Andrew from Channel 5, who was interviewing him, says, well, you don't think that your talent had anything to do with it? And Shia said, there's no such thing as talent. Andrew tried to say, well, like interviewing someone is a talent, or juggling is a talent. And then Shia goes, well, that's a skill. Both of those are skills. And then Shia said, there's no such thing as talent. There's only push-ups. And that, to me, I can resonate with, because the talent of taking photos for me was developed. It was very much sort of a process, and I have deleted very little photos from my Instagram. So you can scroll back all the way to the beginning and see my improvement. And I've said that before on this podcast, is that you can sort of see from where I started to where I am today. And I'm very happy about that growth, and I'm happy that the development of that is sort of documented in that way. Those were my push-ups, the 10,000 hour rule. And this is exactly what this is. Again, like I feel like I keep touching back on this, but yeah, like I'm doing my reps. I'm putting in my work. I'm doing my push-ups right now with the content that I'm creating. And as I get more comfortable doing this, as I get more used to working with the tools that I have, or even new tools that become available to me, you know, shots are going to get better. Audio is going to get better. The stories that I tell in my vlogs are going to get better. As of right now, I'm just sort of like maneuvering my way around, and like you'll see in this next vlog episode, there was so much that happened and so much that I felt like I didn't get or I couldn't share that I had to step in. And that's exactly what I'm doing and how I'm editing it. And I have to feel like I'm giving myself bookends for that video. And you'll understand that more once it releases next week. But yeah, push-ups. I do want to thank a lot of you guys for watching the vlogs and the podcast. I appreciate everyone that comments and likes the videos. It means a lot, and it's very motivating. So thank you guys. But I'll see you guys next week. And until then, and more importantly, keep shooting. Peace.